Long ago, in a living room very much like yours, two women made up a podcast on how movies link up to each other, and they called it 6 Degrees of Feature Film.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 6 Degrees of Feature Film podcast. I am Miss Movies.
I am Stacey Howard.
And today we have a special guest. Would you like to introduce our special guest?
Sure. His name is Jamie Woodham, friend of the show. Welcome. Hello.
Hey, thanks. I never know when I can start talking because some people will talk for like 10 minutes before they introduce you.
Right.
And you just have to like silently, even if they're making jokes, just not laugh like you don't exist yet, and then they'll like bring you in. But I'm glad that you guys just did like right at the top. You're like, no,
it's like the prestige, you know.
Yeah.
We got to get you in here because we need other voices. Okay, so I have a question.
Yes.
I just followed you on Twitter. Yay.
Oh, nice.
I see that you have like 50,000 followers. What is happening? How does that happen?
A lot of people made a lot of mistakes along the way. No, I've been on Twitter for a while, and I think especially for writers and comedians, like both of which I consider myself to be, I think Twitter is very indispensable, and also that's what Twitter was made for.
Right.
Not originally. I'm sure it was made for some nobler purpose, but it's
just marketing in general.
Yeah, but it's evolved into, most Twitter pedestrians, if they follow anyone, they just want to follow people who are funny or creative or have something interesting to say, or like CNN breaking news, which was like back in the day the only thing I followed. But
for me, the whole purpose is Gary Busey memes. That's like all I want on Twitter. That's all I want. So
that's a big chunk of Twitter. That's what a lot of people are looking for. So I just about 4 years ago or so, when I was still in college/grad school, that all slurred together. College/grad school. I just started tweeting jokes like it was my job because I didn't have one at that point.
Right.
I was a student, and the job market's terrible. Thanks, boomers.
I know, they won't get out. How dare they?
Oh, man. So, I just started tweeting jokes every day and being consistent and trying to be funny and original. And it kind of snowballs, I think.
Right.
Just in general, as far as Twitter goes. It starts off really slow, but then the more followers that you gain and the bigger you kind of make your account and stuff, obviously you have a much exponentially larger reach. And so now I'm at the point where I have a respectable number, I guess.
I love it. It's great. I'm just hoping to get to 5,000 at some point. Maybe this year, maybe before 2016.
New Year's resolution.
To get to like 1,000, maybe. I'm just
You're
not
close.
as cool as you kids. So thanks for intimidating me.
No,
and,
but you're new to
shaming
Twitter.
Me.
I started in like 2007 or something.
Oh,
That's
wow.
kind of a while.
I didn't start till like 2012.
Yeah.
And even then, it was just about like my biology finals. Like I wasn't trying very hard at all.
Right. All right, so today, our feature film, this is how it works. We take one feature film and we link it up to 6 other films, thus 6 degrees of feature film. And we do strange links. Like, we're going to start with Die Hard today, and then we'll talk about explosions. I don't know what we're going to talk about. Actually, I know, but we're saving that for later, so you'll find out later. So off of the first film, we branch off 2 that have a similar theme to 2 different films, and from those 2 different films we take themes off of each one of them and branch those off into 2 other films to discuss. So that is how it goes.
It's so simple.
I know, right?
But it requires an explanation.
Of course.
It's like someone should create a graph or something.
You know what?
Whoa.
That is a great
graph
infographic.
made right in front of me.
So starting with Die Hard, I'm assuming we've all seen this, and I watched this again
or as the
last
Germans
week.
say, Die Hard.
Die Hard?
That was shitty. There's like literally 2% of your audience is cracking up right now. The D-I-E is the in German.
Got it. Interesting.
Oh, man.
I'm not German.
We're off to a roaring
We should note that Jamie speaks German, so I think that was more of a personal joke for him to make himself laugh. So
there's
good
always
job with that.
In any sort of stand-up or comedy or anything, my goal is to always just have one person in the back that's like, oh wow, I get that, that's hilarious, and everyone else else is just like, oof.
This guy.
Where is the next person? Bring out the next guest.
So this came out July 20th, 1988. It is the start of the John McClane series.
I didn't realize it was that old.
I know, right?
Yeah.
You weren't even born yet, so...
How do you know how old
I don't know. I actually don't know. That is a total guess.
I guess because I said that. Yeah, that makes sense. I gave myself away there.
So John McClane is a NYPD officer, and he tries to save his wife and several others who have been taken hostage by German terrorists during a Christmas party at the Nakatomi Plaza in Los Angeles. It kind of sucks. Like, you're kind of on your day off, and then it's like all this crap goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that would be like.
So we have got Bruce Willis as John
We have a
McClane.
movie for that to help us imagine.
Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber. I should put this over here. And then some other people. Reginald VelJohnson is in this.
He's so good.
And I just was like, hey, Family Matters. Like, the whole time I'm just like, Family Matters.
Classic
This guy from
comic
Family
relief.
Matters. Apparently, like, I read something about for years, and even still now, people will come up to him and, like, give him a Twinkie or talk about Twinkies with him, and he's like, I really need, this needs to end.
That's one reason, one of many reasons that I miss the 90s, but I feel like when I was a kid, or if you're like just a person in the 90s, I feel like he was like the quintessential cop. Like if you ask someone, like, picture a police officer, like, it would be him, because he was, like you said, like Family Matters and Die Hard and everything. But now, of course, it's just a much sadder reality, because now if someone's like, picture a cop, you just picture like a terrible thing happening.
Right.
But like
a murder.
Yeah, like some sort of minority being abused.
Someone.
But like back then it was cool, because it was like, picture a cop, and you're like, oh yeah,
like a friendly cop at the donut shop.
Yeah,
you
like,
know,
like throw him a Twinkie. And apparently there was like a radical reaction to that by like modern police officers.
Oh no,
I won't get too political.
So
I don't know what kind of podcast this is.
No, I get what you mean. Yeah, he was like the friendly, warm, welcoming cop.
Like your neighborhood.
He was like the stereotype of a cop, but in a positive way.
Yeah, exactly.
Big fan.
It's sad where we've come in society, but I feel like it's all cyclical. Like, we've been here before with the riots and stuff.
We'll eventually collapse as a civilization.
Well, yes.
Cavemen again.
Right.
Yay.
It'll be Mad Max all over. We'll start there.
Then Die Hard is like on a cave wall somewhere.
That's right. In a little bitty cave with like 5 other cavemen.
Yeah. That's how it works.
Crawling around. There we go. Yeah.
History.
Whoa.
Wonderful. The budget for this
Thanks
was...
for tuning in this week.
The budget was $28 million, and it made $140 million at the box office, which is pretty good. No wonder they were like, let's keep going with this.
Let's keep making these for 30 years.
Oh man, the first one I actually saw was the one with Timothy Olyphant.
The fourth one?
Is
Live
that the
Free
fourth?
or Die Hard?
Yes, and I do like Timothy Olyphant. Yes. Like, he's one of my favorite just people in general.
Justified.
So, my son is actually named after Raylan Gibbons.
Oh, that's so
yes,
awesome.
His name is not Raylan, but that was the name I took and was like, I like this.
Yeah.
I like this name. Yep.
Nice.
One day he'll be like, Mom, why'd you do that? Why?
But then he'll watch the show and he'll be like,
yes,
pretty badass.
exactly. So that was the first one that I saw, and his daughter was also in it, Rumor Willis, right? Was it? She was like, I don't know. You know what?
Sure. I've actually only seen this one.
Okay.
And the Kevin Smith scenes from like the 5th one or whatever one he's in.
Got it.
That's the 4th one.
Yeah, I think it was also
with
the Timothy Olyphant one.
And I unfortunately did see the 5th one with his son.
Yes.
And so the poster says, Yippee-ki-yay, Mother Russia. And it's like the saddest little thing I've ever seen in the taglines. And he's so depressed
If anything, though, that looks like the best part of that movie.
What?
Was that shitty tagline.
Yeah, the best part of it was the shitty tagline.
I'd rather read that over and over for 2 hours than watch that movie.
And there's a villain that eats a carrot in the really intimidating scene, and he dances, and I'm so confused.
Like, how does he eat it? Bugs Bunny style?
Yeah.
I was say, were they going for the shootout thing? Where the movie is like the movie shootout, where they're trying to set up the Bugs Bunny Looney Tunes dynamic.
Yeah, where it's like Elmer Fudd.
Yeah, I'm the only one who knows what I'm talking about there.
I'm
I
picking
don't,
it
I
up.
don't know what's
usual.
happening with the
That's
movie.
usual.
I honestly couldn't tell you the plot or who's in it. I think
Yeah.
Bruce Willis might be in it. I don't know.
I
I
would,
honestly don't know.
By the 5th movie, wouldn't you think that they'd be like, maybe we should start looking into this guy because every time he's around, some crazy terrorist
Sure.
shit goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
some
And he just
foreign
happens
crazy
to be
terrorist.
there all the time, blowing this thing wide.
Let's
open.
do it. Hey, this is Alan Rickman's feature film debut. So what? Like,
Professor
awesome.
Snape.
Talk
Oh my
about
god.
a late start.
And Sam Neill turned down the role of Hans Gruber.
Oh, idiot.
Well, it's for the best.
No, but we get
We might not
Alan
have
Rickman.
Snape, yeah. if it
Do you
weren't
know
for
what?
this.
I heard. Now, this is my favorite scene in the movie is when McClane and Hans Gruber meet up for the first time, and they created that scene because when Alan Rickman got to set, they realized he's really good at imitating an American accent. So they were like, "Oh, when they meet, they were trying to figure out how they should do that.
Right.
We can have him pretend to be American because he does a great
Yeah,
job."
it was pretty good. I mean, knowing that when you like hear it, it's kind of like a little wonky, but like
I
you
thought he
can
did
get
a
it.
I like that
fantastic
they-
job.
I like the idea that the makers of a film would just incorporate random things that they're good at. Like they're like, oh,
Yeah.
like you're good at English accent. We should or American in this case. Like we should include a scene for that. Like, what if Alan Rickman was just like good at cartwheels? Would there have been like the intro is like he like cartwheels out of like into the door frame?
Yeah, he
or-
cartwheels away from
Right.
bullets.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, well, he's good at it. We got to put it in the movie.
My
He's a
one
talent.
my one issue with the film is that people regard it as a Christmas movie, and I was like, well, it takes place at Christmas time, but there's nothing else very Christmassy about it. Like
There's a
aside
sweatshirt
from
that
ho ho
says
ho, I
ho, ho,
have
ho
a machine
in
gun.
blood,
Now I have a
so-
machine gun.
I
Okay,
kind of not to be too controversial.
that's fine.
But I disagree with that just
Okay.
because I
You're a man.
I really like. Well, I'm not the biggest fan of the movie. Like, it's a
Okay.
good movie. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh my gosh, I want to watch it every day. But I do like when people find unconventional picks for like best Christmas movie or best Halloween movie, and I like when things get in on a technicality like that,
Right,
just because
sure.
it makes things more interesting than like. If you're talking about best Christmas movie, it's like, well, which boring fucking black and white movie from the 60s are
Oh,
we gonna
come
pick?
on.
I don't know. But
Not
I'm
like a Christmas
a big
Story
fan, so-
or
Mine would probably be like Nightmare Before Christmas.
I love
Whoa,
Nightmare Before
nice.
Christmas.
Or Elf, because Elf's great. But,
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, I like when people find, they're like, well, technically, Die Hard.
Good set at
Christmas
Christmas.
movie.
They have a shotgun.
Yep.
Ho ho ho.
Or, Dumb and Dumber, Lloyd Christmas.
Whoa.
That would be even
That's a
way
real
more.
stretch. That's a real stretch.
All your listeners just had to like take out their earbuds and reflect for a moment. They were like, what
Whoa.
the fuck?
All right,
What's
listen,
this
all
guy
two of
talking
you.
about?
Let's
You
regroup
two
for
guys
just a
need
second.
to calm down.
Oh man, yeah. So I don't even remember what I was gonna say. Therefore, I'm done.
We're moving on. We're moving on
Interesting.
to our next two films.
That's just how it goes. Right?
There's
Oh,
so
you
many
know what? I
films.
figured it out. I figured out what I was gonna say.
Oh.
So I watched this last week because even though I've seen it before, I wanted to brush up because I think that's important, and if I have the time, I'll do it. And I could not, for the life of me, when it's shoot the glass and he's like barefoot. I just was like, I have to not watch. And then him pulling out the glass shards, and I was just like, I will take a bullet before I'm gonna have to like get
Yeah.
these glass in my feet.
Now watch for in that scene because apparently he has like fake rubber feet on.
Right.
But like they're too big, and so apparently they look kind of like Hobbit feet in some scenes, and you can tell. So I'm gonna
I
have
just
to
don't want to
again.
watch it at all. Like I
Really?
just can't.
I don't mind. I like blood. I'm a weird person like that, so I like violence
Okay.
and blood.
Well, yeah, you like horror movies,
This
so
is true. This is true. So I'm all about it.
So we're gonna from Die Hard go ahead to our link off of that, which is going to be Man or Woman Against All Odds, and we were hoping
Every movie.
every movie ever. We were hoping that you would take the lead for Rocky,
Okay. All right.
Jamie. When I say
Okay.
you,
I'll do it. I thought I was here as a guest to relax and chill, but
No,
I guess
no,
I'll
no, we put
take
you to
the
work.
lead. No, I'm just kidding. That'd be great. I didn't rewatch. I watched Rocky last night
nice.
for the first time, despite having.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
I've owned all 6 movies for about 4 years now.
Wow.
or whenever the most recent one came out. Don't fact check me. So I watched Rocky for the first time last night, and it was good. Wasn't great.
It was good.
It was pretty good. It was above average. I liked it. Here's the thing. It was good as a movie, but as far as how much I liked it, I really enjoyed it. It's very enjoyable to watch.
Yes.
But those two things don't always correlate. Yeah, I mean, do you want me to walk through the synopsis and everything?
Sure.
Okay.
If you've got it.
Oh.
Let's do it.
I am so prepared.
Awesome.
Rocky was released in 1976, starring Sylvester Stallone, Talia Shore, and Carl Weathers. And it tells the story of Rocky Balboa, who's a small-time boxer from working-class Philadelphia, who is arbitrarily chosen to take on the reigning world heavyweight champion Apollo Creed when the undefeated fighter's scheduled opponent, I don't know why I said that weird, scheduled opponent is injured. While training with feisty former bantamweight contender Mickey Goldmill, Rocky tentatively begins a relationship with Adrian, the wallflower sister of his meat packer pal Paulie.
Wow, you got a full-on synopsis there.
Hey,
Where'd that come from?
You gotta do it right. That was courtesy of the Googs.
Okay.
That is Google.com.
Oh
for the
gosh, I was like,
uninitiated.
what is this new app that I haven't heard of?
You gotta get on the Googs.
Yeah. And it's Talia Shire.
Oh, Talia Shire.
Yes.
Who I didn't know, not to jump into trivia, I didn't know she was the Schwartzman's mother.
Yeah.
Mother.
I didn't
There's
know
only
that
one of her,
either.
but
Francis
there's
Ford
multiple
Coppola's
Schwartzmans.
sister.
Oh, okay.
And
That's
then-
their, and so they're
that's
also
their
related
mom.
to like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which
So
explains
amazing.
why she's in Godfather, right? Or
Yes,
one of them.
she's in
Oh,
Godfather
okay. I got you.
1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
she has been in 3 Academy Award
Best Picture.
winners for
Best
Best
Picture,
Pictures
yeah.
in a row. She's like the only actress to do that, I think.
That's pretty
In a row.
amazing.
Was that in a row?
Now,
Maybe.
No.
I don't know.
I thought
maybe
Godfather
it's
was
just
the year
3.
after this, and then there was and then it was The Sting, and then Godfather 2.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Well,
Is that
this
correct?
one
Well, then
Best
choose just
Picture
three.
of its year.
Yeah, in
It did.
76.
The only
Yeah.
the first sports film to do that.
First sports film.
First.
Nice.
Not
good,
even the-
good trivia.
But and I mean, obviously, by nature, it's also the first boxing. But it's pretty impressive that it's not even the only boxing film to win Best Picture. It's crazy that there's like certain little subgenres that just sneak in.
Right.
Also, like boring pictures about actors, which is
About like presidents.
The Artist. Well, no, those ones are good.
This one's good. I want one about curling. I want that sports.
Sure.
As soon as they
Film.
make
Yes.
a movie about curling,
Yeah.
maybe it'll get in there.
I'm hoping. I mean, I'm writing the script right now, so
Yeah.
just give me some room, give me some time, people.
Yeah.
So this is pretty much like we've all watched it for the first time in like the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Because
I-
it was the first time I had seen Rocky as well.
Last
and
night, it's
I
fresh.
It was the first time for
It
me
was
last
crazy.
night as well.
Last night wasn't. It wasn't last night for me. It was maybe a week ago, and then I went through the whole series, and people were saying, you don't need to see 5. I had seen Balboa, and I had seen 4.
I heard Balboa is really good. Like the
Balboa
newest one.
is good.
That's what I've heard. It was like maybe even like second to the original.
Is that
No.
the 6th?
I mean, I'm obviously speaking completely speculatively because I've only seen the first one so far. But I've heard really good things about the new one, and Creed looks awesome. The one coming
Mm-hmm. It does.
out soon.
That
It
looks
does.
really, really
Looks
good.
great.
And I love Michael B.
Even
Jordan,
though it
so.
spoils the series, because now I'm like, oh, Apollo dies at some point.
Yeah, yeah. At some point he dies and he
Right.
has like a son, or is he his son
He's
or his
his son.
grandson? His son.
Yeah.
His
Okay.
son.
That old.
I don't.
If he was his grandson,
I don't
Sylvester
know.
would be like 95.
He looks it.
It's like, I fought your dad when I was 30. Adrian!
Play stickball in this tree is great. Oh,
I don't want to say it. You act like a whore. You're hanging out with a whore and the guys don't want to hang with a whore. I'm just
you have
trying
your
to look
yellow
out for
teeth,
you.
your breath stinks, you whore.
Hey, you remember,
Oh my god.
Adrian, you remember these my turtles? Or this Cuff and Link?
Yo, Adrian, this turtle food.
Yeah, this is a turtle
This
food.
go.
Oh man.
I can't stop
guys
laughing. This
are
moss
great.
of the turtle in the turtle food gets a shell shock, you know. This
Remember-
this movie is so stupid.
You remember I got the little mountain? I had to take the mountain out.
They get
'Cause
falling
it
over.
kept falling over and I couldn't get back on the side.
Sylvester Stallone wrote this and was
That's
nominated
the
for an
most-
Oscar.
That's the most impressive part.
He is an Academy Award nominated writer, you
Oh,
guys.
man.
Sly Stallone.
It's amazing.
At the fucking Oscars.
He's an
I can't.
Oscar-nominated actor, too.
Yes.
He's nominated
Yes.
for Best Actor.
Yeah, and this one for Best Picture. I can't. This movie. Okay.
And Best Director.
This is like
This
even
movie.
the story of this movie is just as inspiring as the movie itself.
Yeah.
That's one of the best parts.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like the fictional aspect is great, but then reading all the behind the scenes stuff and the making of is it, to me at least, to a writer, is like more inspiring than the sports thing that I can only tangentially relate to.
Because the movie was inspired by his struggle as an actor and a writer at that time. And he wanted to write about that, but he was like, no one cares about some fucking actors and writers struggle. Like, they don't care. So, I'll make it into, like, a boxing movie, and that'll be inspiring. And he was totally
especially
right.
in, like, for Philadelphia, because all of my mom's family, that whole side of the family is from Pennsylvania, so I really love Pennsylvania in particular, in the Northeast, and that whole attitude and sentiment. But it's very much like, you know, if he set out and he's like, I'm writing a movie about being a writer, like, all his friends are gonna be like, what's wrong with you queer? You picking up the pen, you're gonna dump it on the paper, you're so dainty, aren't you? And then he's just like, oh no, I mean, I'm writing a movie about a boxer. And they're like, okay.
Oh, that's nice.
That's cool.
Think there'll be turtles on the movie?
You got turtles? I got names for you. I got Chip and Dip. Boxing and Glove. Cuff and Link. Wait a minute.
Wait, that sounds
What
good.
was that last one you said?
Your impressions are spot on. Please just do the rest of the movie.
That's like one that for some reason I'm very good at, apparently.
Now,
Guys,
one of my favorite trivias was trivia bits of information was how Carl Weathers was auditioning and sparring with Sly, and I guess he punched him, and Sly was like, "You need to calm down." And he's like, "Well, if I had a real actor to do this scene with,
He's
then
like, well,
it
you
wouldn't
didn't have
be
me
a problem."
auditioning with a stand-in.
Yeah.
And they're like, "He is the real actor."
Oh, excuse me.
He's like,
what's
"Well,
this guy
maybe he'll
talking
get better." I love
What's
that.
he
Well, he'll
saying?
get
I
better.
can't understand him.
Oh, man.
I needed the movie on with captions because I couldn't understand.
Yeah,
Well, I have
there
to-
were some parts where I was
But
like,
I was like,
what the
what's
fuck is
happening?
he saying right now?
No idea. His speech to Marie or whatever, walking down the street, calling her a whore, until
I was like, which girl are we talking about?
I was like, she's fucking 12. Oh my god, stop calling her a whore.
It's really weird, but that scene was. I mean, one thing I really liked as far as the whole Pennsylvania thing in Philadelphia is like all the setting and all of the shooting locations and everything were amazing because it feels like Pennsylvania. But that scene in particular reminded me the most of like my extended family and like all of my Pennsylvania family, because it was like that's just how they are. Like it would be like you'd have a child and, you know, if they're doing something that might be construed as like socially weird, like as an adult, like they'll like they're just
gonna
very
correct
blunt.
them.
Like they're very like upfront people, which is good. But it's, you know, it's one of those things where they're just like, you just have a kid and he's like, stop hanging around with those guys who think you're a whore. You don't want to be a whore because nobody wants to date a whore. And she's
No
just
one wants
like,
to marry a
all
whore.
right, thanks. My favorite. Not favorite. One of my favorite pieces of trivia was kind of going back to the making of stuff we were talking about, and I found this on it. It said after producers Winkler and Chartoff became interested in the script, they offered Sylvester Stallone an unprecedented $350,000 for the rights, but he refused to sell it unless they also agreed to let him star in the film, even though he only had $106 in the bank, no car, and was currently trying to sell his dog because he couldn't afford to feed it. They eventually agreed, but only on the condition that Stallone continue to work as a writer without a fee and that he work as an actor for scale. After Winkler and Chartoff purchased the film, they took it to United Artists, who envisioned a budget of $2 million, but that was on the basis of using an established star, in particular Robert Redford. UA didn't want Stallone to star, but when Winkler and Chartoff told them that the only way they could get him to sell the screenplay was to cast him, UA cut the film budget to $1 million and had Chartoff and Winkler sign agreements that if the film went over budget, they would personally be liable. And the budget ended up being $1.1 million because both of the producers ended up mortgaging their houses in order to finish financing the film.
And then it made like $200 million at the box office.
Over
Highest
225.
Highest grossing movie
Worldwide.
of 76.
So it was a good investment. They got it.
Insane.
They got that money back. Thank
Yeah,
goodness.
They did. Oh man.
And so did United Artists.
Okay, so I would love to talk about how I could not believe how politically incorrect this movie is. Like, I know it's the 70s, okay, but I just want to go through some talking points that I was just shocked at. First of all...
Why don't you, Rocky? Rocky, why don't you take it to the zoo?
Why would I take it to the zoo?
Why don't I take it to the zoo? Because the retards love the zoo. Why do you get back here?
You could probably do a good Yogi Bear, like, impression.
I couldn't believe it. Retards in the zoo. Okay, and then, by the way, in the second
arguably my favorite part of the film.
Oh, that was beautiful. And he proposes to her in a zoo in the second movie. And there's a tiger. No, well, I mean, I'm going to spoil the shit out of these movies. I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
Is it
there's
a white
tiger? No, it's like an orange and black striped tiger.
White tigers.
But it's snowing. And so the tiger's just roaming around, and he proposes, and she's like, yeah, I guess. And he's like, yo, Mr. Tiger, she said yes, we're getting married. And I'm like, oh, he's guys.
That's the ultimate twist is that he was the retard that she proposed.
Okay, no, so there's so many things. And also, he basically, like, date rapes her on their first date. Like, she's so uncomfortable. She does not want to be in his apartment. She doesn't want to be there. She doesn't want to sit on the couch. She's, like, super shy and intimidated. And he, like, blocks her and is like, no, yo, you ain't leaving. I want to kiss you. And I'm like, no, just let her leave. If I was a girl, I'd be like, no, you're fucking creepy. Dude, I don't want to be here.
His apartment was stressing me out so much because it was so terribly bad.
That's probably his
actual
apartment.
It smelled really bad too, and that's where that scene he improv that scene where he was like, "It stinks in here, fucking stinks."
But it was like he's sitting on the couch, and there were like 5 empty beer bottles just on top of the couch, and he's like, "Oh, come sit down." And I was like, "You can't
they're gonna fall on her.
Just like throw them in there. Like I'm not saying you gotta like scrub the floor, but you got bottles on your couch." And newspapers.
And the mattress is like
do? I almost like slipped
around.
into a Christopher Walken. You got bottles on the couch. What are you doing? Rocky. Use your brain.
And then also her brother, Paulie. I hate Paulie. He's such an asshole.
Kind of the worst.
He calls her a
that guy's
loser.
a really good actor, though.
He is.
I mean, obviously the character was really shitty, but like all of his scenes, like he was like really bringing it. I was really surprised.
Really genuine. Like,
I never heard. I don't know who the actor is.
I have no idea.
But yeah, I was like, especially like when he had the bat, and then like when they were at like the meat packing plant and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he was just steady bringing it.
I like it when we see him at the boxing match and like Rocky's coming out.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, Rocky, got this suit and this girl." Or maybe
Like,
this
I
horse.
$75 for her.
He had the patch on his robe.
Correct, Homer.
He had like the advertising patch on his robe, and then
$3,000,
Mickey was like, "Fuck are you doing? Like, why do you have that thing on your robe?" And he's like, "Oh, I told us for a friend. Told a friend of
For a friend to make 3 kids, fine." My Rocky impression is not on point, and I'm really embarrassed by it. Just so you know, but I have
It's in
to
my
do
genes.
it. I can't.
I'm not
I
even
can't
gonna
not do
attempt it. So
Paulie's so
there's
mean.
that.
Also, and he calls her busted for not being a virgin. Cause she's like ruined. Paulie calls her. He's like, she's busted. But she's not a virgin when she's busted. I'm like, oh, this is bad. Like,
I want to know who that was.
His
Who
sister,
busted
right?
her?
Oh, well, I think it was after. Wasn't it implied that like her and Rocky slept together?
Yeah.
Okay, it was
yeah,
after.
It was after that scene where he was like,
You screwed my sister.
"Screw my sister."
Around the meat.
Yeah, he was like, "Why are we having this conversation?"
Yeah. And he's like, don't talk about it. Don't talk about your sister like that. Rocky is actually pretty respectful of Adrian, besides the date rape scene.
That's a very unfair characterization of that scene.
We don't know what happened
He almost
after
rapes
that.
her, guys. I swear.
Date
He
rape
almost rapes
implies
the
drugs,
turtles,
though,
and he
doesn't
almost
it?
rapes her.
As a date rape implies that he drugged her or something.
I guess so. I don't know. I'm just using those words.
I definitely got the same.
I feel like she didn't like it and she wasn't into it.
Well, I definitely got the same vibe at first, but after like the way, like how passionately she was kissing him afterwards, I think it was just that like she needed, not to use a cufflink metaphor, but I think she just needed help coming out of her shell, and he knew that because he like liked her as a person and knew that she was very shy and withdrawn.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But I mean, it was
Just because you put it that way.
just because I used the shell metaphor.
I guess I'm just not used to those kinds of
she just
scenes
needed to be
anymore.
taken on the coming out of her shell tour.
They did.
1989,
Coming out of our shell.
the Ninja Turtles.
They could have sang the a nice smooth ballad from Master Skinner. skipping stones. He sings that.
We could probably talk
Yeah.
the entire
Just
podcast
saying.
about Rocky, but
We
we're
could.
going to have to
Yeah,
move
yeah.
it on.
Hold on, wait. I just want
Okay, yeah, let's
I have
do
one
it.
more piece of
No,
trivia.
no.
Okay.
I have one theory. I have one more theory.
Oh,
Guys,
theory.
All right.
Rocky
Jeez.
Balboa
Yes.
is Dr. Doolittle. He
Okay,
talks
yeah,
to
he does.
animals the whole goddamn movie. He talks to
Yeah.
fish. He talks to turtles. He talks to dogs. He talks to birds. And then in the second movie, he's like with chickens. Like he's Dr. Doolittle.
And then there's like no animals after that, it seems.
That's right.
They
in the
just
first,
like
in the first movie,
drop
the
off.
whole theme is like animals. That's Rocky is
Yeah.
Dr. Doolittle. That's the plot of the movie.
Maybe
It's
this
Dr.
is
Doolittle.
him.
Just saying.
This is Sly in his apartment writing, and he has no one to talk to, so he talks to his animals.
So he talks to his
He
Ninja
goes to the
Turtles.
zoo to write. And, I had 3 really small pieces of trivia
Okay, yes,
that I'll
let's
run
do it.
through rapid
We'll do
fire.
it.
The
Okay.
first that I found really interesting. This was the 3rd feature film ever to use Steadicam technology, which is really cool.
Ooh.
Second, kind of a personal one. There is an original Rocky poster hanging in the hallway of my apartment building.
Yes.
So I've seen this poster no less than 1 time a day for the last 2 years. It's at the top of the stairs as I go into my apartment. And lastly, Sylvester Stallone was not only a huge Charlie Chaplin fan, but Rocky is reportedly the very last movie that Charlie Chaplin ever saw before he died.
Whoa!
Sylvester Stallone sent him a copy to his home in Europe, and about a couple weeks later, I believe, Charlie Chaplin passed away. But his family confirmed that he had viewed it more than once before he passed.
Mind blown.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Just wait till you see the connections later on.
Whoa. Okay. Guys, we
Teasing the
can talk,
podcast that you're already listening to, guys.
I could talk about Rocky all day.
Yeah,
Also,
we better-
there's lots of words. One more thing.
Yeah, yep.
I just want to talk about all the words that they use over and over again. The following are said like 116 times, I think. Bum.
Boom.
Bum.
Coconut.
Coconut. He calls
Coconuts.
everyone coconuts.
I've been
Why?
called coconuts by my family.
Oh my
That's-
gosh.
yeah.
I've never heard that, and I'm like, why the fuck
Oh,
is he
that's
talking
great.
about
Like you're
coconuts?
crazy.
A
You're
chub-
coconuts.
I get it,
Right?
but I just haven't
Right?
heard
Is that where? I don't know.
Well, I
I
think
just
he
thought it was
calls
cute.
people coconut.
He
Like,
calls people
you're
coconuts.
a coconut.
Right. Like
Yeah.
you're crazy.
Oh, yo, you
It's
couple of
insane.
coconuts over there. Like, I just thought it was so funny and cute. I was
Or
like,
just
oh my
in general.
God, that's so cute. A chump, retard, again, calling her retard all the time. Yo, turtle, and loser. All those words are used.
It's like the
Multiple times
it's
throughout
like
the
the
film.
front runner to Donald Trump. He's like Donald Trump, basically.
That's right. Yo, he's a
Anyone
loser.
that agrees with him.
He's a loser.
Mr. Trump, what do you think of this guy who's really smart but disagrees with you? The guy's a loser.
Exactly.
Not a fan. He's a
Ridiculous.
loser. He's a bum.
He's a
Take him
chump.
to the zoo.
He's a fucking coconut.
Take him to the zoo. That's all I'm saying.
Yo,
Next
put him in the
question.
turtle pen. I don't care.
Next
My accents are not good. I'm like so annoyed.
can
by
work
I'm
on
just
it.
I'm
saying.
glad that you just keep trying. No?
I really try. I'm
You're
so
like,
committed
every
to
time
it.
you're just like, I'm really bad. I'm not gonna stop, but I'm not gonna.
I'm so committed to it, guys. I'm not gonna stop. Okay, well, so we could talk about Rocky forever.
We
but,
could.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm loving
Okay,
this.
cool.
All right, so our next one, Man, Woman Against All Odds, Kill Bill. Now, I actually watched both Volume 1 and Volume 2 again because I was like, I want to talk about both.
Yeah.
Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah, I
No.
put down stuff for volume 1 and 2.
Okay. So the first one came out in October of 2003, and then the second one came out in April of 2004, which I really like that there was only like 6 months
Holy
between
shit,
the
yeah,
first and the second.
That's way
Yeah.
too close.
Because they, made it all at
Yeah, they
one
did
as
it all at
one,
once.
and I think it was just so long that he was like, "Let's just do this. Let's just cut it and do
Yeah.
2 volumes." I wonder.
It's a very Tarantino move. Not the
Is
2
it-
volumes. I mean, to release them so closely, because the studio wouldn't do that.
I
Because
would
even like
love
Harry
that,
Potter,
I
they
know.
split in 2, but they put a year between them because you have to milk each one
Right.
for
Right.
its box
Which
office.
is so frustrating to me because I'm like, especially even with Harry Potter, because I feel like that was kind of the first one to really do it. Maybe this was
They
too.
were.
But what frustrates me the most is like at that point we're so many films in that by the very last one I was like, just let it end. I need this to end. Like I was just tired of it at that point, and which is frustrating because I really liked the series. And so when they drag it out too long, I'm like, I need the information and to see it all, but I just want it over. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the
Does
more
that
Harry
help?
Potter films, the better.
Well, I'm talking to the
Yeah,
wrong
that's
person.
how-
Yeah, that's, you're talking to 2 very big Harry
Yeah,
Potter fans.
that's how.
So.
My thing was like, my biggest complaint the whole time was I was like, these fucking 2.5-hour Harry Potter movies. I was like, just do it right. Make 5-hour movies. We're gonna watch them.
Yeah.
Like I was
Yeah,
like,
just
what do
put
you...
it together.
Yeah, just like include everything. Don't be like, oh, we gotta cut this for time. It's like,
Yeah,
no,
I think that's my
no
thing.
cutting of anything.
the people that are going
Do
to see
everything.
Harry Potter movies the weekend they open aren't gonna be like, this is too long.
I mean,
I'm
you
seeing
could
too
even-
much of the book that I love.
I think we should have like I'm a studio head. I think we should have Volume 1 and Volume 2 come out the same like weekend, and then you can just see
That'd be
it.
a
That like
clusterfuck.
I mean, you could totally like I would buy tickets to that, but and
Yeah.
maybe they only sell it as 2.
I don't know.
Nice, milk ya.
Controversial.
That's
I don't know
sounds-
what.
this is a
studio
whole
you're the
new
head
world.
of. A whole new world.
Over here changing things.
I
It's all like
know.
Pocahontas style.
Anyways, so here's the synopsis for those that don't know, which hopefully
yeah.
you do
Yeah,
know.
we're talking about Kill Bill.
Yes, Volume 1.
Got into Harry Potter,
Yeah.
Turtles, all kinds of stuff.
The bride wakens
Think
from a
the
4-year
original-
coma.
The original Kill Bill.
The child she carried in her womb is gone, and now she must wreak vengeance on the team of assassins who betrayed her, a team she was once part of. The Volume 2 synopsis is the bride continues her quest for vengeance against her former boss and lover Bill, the reclusive bouncer Bud, and the treacherous one-eyed Ellie. Ellie? L. I
Is there
don't...
an I?
L.
There's an L-E-L-L-E, so I'd say
Yeah,
L.
it's just
L.
yeah.
I think it's just L.
I love just right off the bat. I love that one Bill is arguably the least intimidating name in existence, but also that he only picked it because it rhymed with kill.
Right.
Like, it was like it was either that or Kill Gil, and that
Or
was even
Will.
more laugh-worthy. Kill Will. Yeah, I don't know. I think Bill was the right choice, but it's still like if you think like when you were just reading the synopsis, it was like the evil Bill, and I was like,
Yeah,
is he?
it sounds
Is he,
like
though?
everyone has like an Uncle Bill that drinks too much at Thanksgiving, and like it's so.
I had an
not-
Uncle Bill that drank too much.
Whoa!
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh, so insane.
Oh, man. It's all coming together.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about our favorite scenes because we need to talk about the showdown at the House of Blue Leaves. That's my favorite scene. In
Okay.
all the, in
Is
all
that the
movies.
Crazy 88?
Yeah, with the Crazy
Yeah.
88.
That has
yeah.
to be your favorite.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
for
like the
sure,
best
because
scene.
it's so bloody and gross, and I
Yeah.
love it. And there's
I
so much death and
actually-
destruction.
Like before that, when we learn about her O Ren Ishii by Lucy Liu, I like learning her origin, like how she became this assassin, and it's like an anime.
Yeah.
And I love
was-
that.
was cool.
Yeah.
And I also really liked, for obvious reasons, when she kills the evil rapist guy. Like that was
Well, of
great.
course.
The Pussy Wagon or
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
it's called. Because that guy was so scummy. Like he was... I mean, I guess it's credit to the actor. Like, he just seemed like the worst person in the world.
worst!
And then, yeah, he was the worst. And then to see him just get just the shit kicked out of him by Uma Thurman was amazing.
I feel like Quentin Tarantino does a lot of things really well, and one of those is casting. I feel like
Oh,
he
yeah.
really
Well, I think
works
even
with all his actors.
The Uma Thurman casting was one of those things where at first people were like, he cast Uma Thurman as like the action star of his next movie, and then it became one of those things, kind of the same way people were like, he cast Heath Ledger as the Joker, like this is going to be a mess, and
Yeah.
then
Right.
it ends up being like an amazing performance. The point is that people on the internet are wrong a lot.
Well, yes.
But the Crazy 88 scene was amazing. I think aside from the obvious, the most fun thing for me was like, they're like, oh, like it's the Crazy 88, and it's one of those things where they're like, oh, there's no way they're actually going to show like all 88 people, and then they do. And
Yes.
She kills like all 88. Like that was just the commitment to that was amazing because it's usually they'll be like, oh, like in 300
Yeah.
they're like, oh, they're going to fight the whole army. It's like, yeah, you don't see them fight the entire army.
Right.
It's like a lot of people, and you get it. But this one was like, no, we're going to show you like every single one of the people.
And then she leaves that one girl standing, who she'll later take arms and limbs off of
Oh,
to
man.
torture.
Oh,
But
yeah.
she's like, I'm coming for you, and that girl's just like slipping around on the blood, which is kind of hilarious. In like a white dress or something. It's like, what are you doing,
So
lady?
great.
And when she cuts her Lucy Liu's little scalp off,
Yeah.
or whatever, and then she
Her-
doesn't
her
realize it for
little
a second.
scalp.
The top, she
the back of her
shaves it.
top. Yeah,
Lucy
just
Liu
a little,
does.
cut a little off the top.
Yeah.
A little too much, like most hairdressers do. They never do it right.
Fucking seriously.
And so she talks for a minute, and she's like, "That really is a Hattori, or what's it?
Hattori Hanzo.
Hanzo sword." And then death. I thought it was super cool. And
That sword must be
Shitty last
magic.
words to be like about just commenting on a sword.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did
kind
she
of like,
say
what else
anything
you gonna
before
say?
she died? No, she said I had a nice sword.
Yeah.
Well,
She named it.
Her family's
she had
just like,
a
well, that's
product
nice of her.
placement. Yeah.
glad it wasn't like tell my family I love them. Or...
I mean,
No.
just as me as like a
Some noble
13-year-old, I was like, this movie is fucking crazy and badass, and I really liked that moment. And they copied it in Underworld. I'm just saying. When she like
Well, luckily you're the only one that saw that movie.
You know what?
No, Underworld's amazing, okay? It's terrible, but it's amazing.
There is on YouTube this gentleman, and I haven't looked it up in so long, and he supercuts Kill Bill with all the films that inspired it. And it is amazing. Like, he puts them side by side so you can see exactly like what
I like this.
where it comes from. And I'm like, Quentin Tarantino is the best movie choreographer out there, because he takes the things that he likes and he reuses them and makes it different.
Awesome.
And that's what good choreographers do.
Yeah.
Like, they take those good moves and they use them to their advantage.
There you go.
So I call him the movie choreographer. Yes, that's me. That's mine.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm like, so you can quote me on that. I'm just kidding.
And you know, the idea for the film, so it came from when they were working on Pulp Fiction together.
Right.
So they were talking about the kinds of movies they would like to do, and Quentin said he'd like to do a 70s style kung fu flick. So Uma came up with the film's opening shot of her being beaten up wearing a wedding gown, and then they just built the story from there. So I was like,
like
Like
if there's any way to get like Quentin Tarantino on your side, just be like, I have this idea for a movie. It starts with a bride getting the shit kicked out of her. And he's like, done. On board.
We've got
greenlight
it.
Go.
We're already in pre-production.
Yeah.
The movie just started.
Now, I like Volume 2 better. Anyone else?
I
Anyone
think
else?
that's a controversial opinion.
Really? Is
Not
it?
among me. I don't
Okay.
care. You're entitled to your opinion. But I mean, in general, I think
Right,
most
sure. I
people-
feel like the first one's an action film, and the second
Yes.
one is a narrative, and
Exactly.
I like
Yeah, and
I
I
like
think-
narrative. So
Yeah, I do too. But I do think that's the reason that most people are the opposite. I think
Right.
it's because
it's a man's world, and men like action.
yeah,
and killing
but I think
and blood.
The first one has a narrative, but I think it's more about it's if the two were a single film, it's the first one is all of the exciting rising action and
Right.
violence and everything, and then the second one just kind of ties everything up. And so I think
Right.
that's why a lot of people they probably went into the second one expecting it to be like, oh man, this is gonna be another like rip roaring like exciting action flick, and it had elements of that, but it was a little more grounded and dramatic, and it kind of sought to wrap up all the story.
I feel like they're gonna, after Hateful Eight, it's prime time to do Volume 3, where the little girl comes after the bride.
Yeah.
Although you kind of like the bride and you don't want that to happen, but she did kill the girl's mom. So
True.
I really wanted that too.
So
I really
let's
wanted
see.
the little girl to come after Uma Thurman.
That's what they're planning on doing,
I'm excited.
but I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. She's
We'll see.
about like
I'll
16
text
now.
Quentin and ask him. what
Okay.
to do.
Yeah, let me
Okay,
know
thanks.
what he says. I think she's like 16 right now, so she could get in
She could do
training.
it.
Interesting. Or they could just use a different person because
They could.
It's like-
I know, but
No,
if you
it
were
would
gonna
almost
go,
be- chance.
It would almost be weirder if they used the same girl instead of just being like, no, like we have like a. I don't know,
but I could see
Chloe
him using
Moretz or
the same
something, like
girl,
someone
right?
That's
Couldn't
like,
you see that
already
happening?
established. Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I think if anyone would do it, it'd be him,
Right.
Or Link later, but that would be boring. But Quentin might do
Link
it right.
later. And I also like Pai Mei. Like, he's in the second film, and he's
Yes,
not in the first film, and I think he is a hilarious character. But just him jumping on top of that sword, like, I was like, I'm sold on this guy with his beard swipe that he
Oh,
does.
his really crazy beard flick.
Just everything
Very
about him.
dramatic.
So anyways, that's Kill Bill for the most part.
So
Good
now,
Good flick.
off of Rocky, so we did Die Hard, then we did 2 Hero Against the Odds films, and now from Rocky,
Yeah,
Where would
we're
you
really
like to go?
excited because we don't know what Jamie has brought
Oh,
for
yeah.
us.
I was supposed to get. I have 2 that go off Rocky. Is that
Okay,
right?
yes, that's right.
Okay, the first one, which I teased earlier,
What's your theme?
yeah, what's your
Before you-
my theme is very specific because that's how I am.
Okay.
My theme is best original screenplay losers that should have won.
Okay, Like Oscar
like
losers.
Rocky,
Okay.
which was nominated for Best Original Screenplay, but lost to Network.
Okay.
And I actually think, and I'll kind of defend each one as to like why I think it should have won. But I think Rocky should have won because I think the screenplay was actually stronger than the film as a whole. And I think they actually should have reversed. I think, I mean, if it was modern, I think Network probably would have edged it out for Best Picture, and Rocky should have beat Network for Best Original Screenplay. So my theme going off of that then, and going off of the little factoid I mentioned earlier, is 1940 Charlie Chaplin's great film, The Great Dictator.
Okay.
Have you
Haven't seen it.
No, haven't seen it.
It is so amazing. And very interestingly, it was nominated for Best Original Screenplay, obviously. In its inaugural year, this is the first year they had Best Original Screenplay.
Okay.
And it lost to The Great McGinty, which no
Don't
one's
know
ever
that
heard
one.
of. Yeah, no
Never
one
heard
had.
of it.
Which is why it should have won. It was like,
Right.
really? And it was nominated for 5 Oscars, including like Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Director, all that kind of stuff. It lost all of them because people in the 40s were so dumb. But
Yeah, you look back on it now, maybe they thought
Oh, man.
the McGinty was going to
I get
be
it, but
the
it's-
great
it's
dictator of the time.
ridiculous because The Great Dictator is still like, I watched it again last night. Like I have it on Criterion Collect. It's so good.
What is the
it's
name of the, like,
So crazy good.
isn't it like communism? It's not communism. What do they call it in that
Marxism?
film?
Oh, well, I can add the synopsis.
Okay, yes, yes.
Maybe it'll.
Oh, he has
yeah,
notes.
it says it in there. Yeah, I got notes.
Okay, good job.
So, The Great Dictator is about the following words that I'm going to say.
Okay.
After, I was trying to cue it up so that it like fed into the sentence, but it didn't. After dedicated service in the Great War, which is World War I for those that don't know, a Jewish barber, Charles Chaplin, spends years in an army hospital recovering from his wounds, unaware of the simultaneous rise of fascist dictator Adenoid Hinkel, a clear stand-in for Adolf Hitler, who is also played by Charlie Chaplin, and his anti-Semitic policies. When the barber, who bears a remarkable resemblance to Hinkel, returns to his quiet neighborhood, he's stunned by the brutal changes and recklessly joins a beautiful girl, Paulette Goddard, and her neighbors in rebelling. And so then what it is pretty much about is very similar to real life. Charles Chaplin bore a somewhat strong resemblance to Adolf Hitler, mostly just in
Right.
that they were the only 2 people that had that mustache,
Right.
And that they were at opposite ends of the spectrum, where like Hitler was not a good dude,
Right.
and Charles Chaplin was like a creative genius.
And Hitler intentionally
everything.
based it off of Charlie Chaplin, so that way he would be more like people would like think of Charlie Chaplin when they looked at him.
Yeah, like I don't know about the motivation, but it was like Chaplin had the mustache first,
Right.
And it was basically, and he was the most famous person in the world at that point. So it was like if there was like I'm trying to think of like a modern thing. If a dictator was trying to get his rise today, and he got like the same haircut as like Brad Pitt or something, and it was like, yeah, look at this, I got good hair, right? It was sort of along those lines. And so then in the movie, he sort of through a series of events, they're like identical in the movie, which is really funny. And the Jewish barber ends up at this rally with some other rebels, but the Nazi officers and soldiers there think that he's Hinkel or Hitler, and the other rebels are like go, like if they think you're him, like go do it. So he starts masquerading as Hinkel, and then on the other hand, Hinkel himself gets picked up by his own soldiers, and they think he's just a random Jewish person. And he's trying to explain to them, like, no, like, I'm your dictator. Like, what are you doing? And they don't believe him because the barber is already standing in his place. So it's like
Right.
a classic switcheroo. But then this culminates in what is still, in my opinion, the greatest speech ever given. Definitely in a movie, maybe even in real life. Look on YouTube, like, the Great Dictator speech. And it's the most powerful speech I've ever heard. And it's the speech that the barber posing as Hinkel gives at the end of the film, because he's at this, like, the nation's biggest rally. The Nazis are taking over Europe, and he gets up to give a speech, and instead of continuing the masquerade to his own benefit, he gives like the most moving speech imaginable on calling for peace and calling for an end to war, and for everyone to realize that we're all like brothers in humanity, and all this kind of stuff. And it's
like the
really
end of
amazing.
Rocky IV.
I
But you haven't
don't
seen it.
make that comparison.
There is a great speech.
That's an
Inspiring.
unfair comparison. Having not even
If
seen
I
the
can
film.
change, you can change. We all can change.
Oh, and
You
he
guys
has like
seriously
the
need to
American
listen.
flag
Yes,
draped on him.
that's
I've
right.
seen that one on
Need to
YouTube.
listen to it.
Now-
It'll make you cry.
Going back to the fact that this might be the most inspiring speech ever in film, I'm
It
going to
is.
argue that
I
Independence Day is probably better than this, and I haven't seen it.
No.
I'm just saying.
See, you guys are. I get what you're doing. You're on here. You're telling some jokes. You're doing some bits. But this
Doing
is
our Rocky
actually
impressions,
this is
which are spot
actually the best speech ever given. And
Okay.
I almost guarantee if you're like in the right zone, like it'll bring you to tears. Like it's so good.
Okay.
It's
I'm gonna
insane.
watch it.
Okay.
You should. I definitely recommend the whole movie. But if nothing else, anyone listening, just go to YouTube, The Great Dictator speech. You'll find it. A few like little behind the scenes thing. The budget was $2 million, and the film went on to make over $11 million globally, making it Chaplin's highest grossing film. In the U.S., it was the second highest grossing film of the year, but in England and France, who were both engaged in World War II with Germany when it came out, it was the most popular film of the year by
Of
far.
course.
And it was also Charlie Chaplin completely financed it out of his own pocket. He didn't go through any of the studios or anything. He completely wrote, directed, produced, filmed it all himself, and then distributed it.
Good for him.
Wow.
It was
what a
great. It was
genius.
like his crowning achievement,
Nice.
and for good reason, because it's amazing film that stands the test of time.
2 million at that time.
Yeah, what's
Yeah,
that?
it was a big production.
Crazy.
What's that today?
He's like the James Cameron. I'm just gonna take about 100 million here,
Pretty
maybe
much.
200 million.
Trying
Chump
to see
change.
some other. There's some glorious trivia. Adolf Hitler banned the film in Germany.
Of
And
course he did.
And all countries occupied by the Nazis. But curiosity got the best of him, and he had a print brought in through Portugal, and history records that he screened it twice in private for himself. For political reasons in Germany, the ban stayed in effect until 1958.
Whoa.
Charlie Chaplin once said that had he known the true extent of the Nazi atrocities, he wouldn't have made the film, because he didn't know how bad things were, and the film is a comedy, obviously at the expense of the Nazis, but still he. But I kind of disagree with that. I think it was still, it served a huge purpose in not just for propaganda purposes, but just for just taking down someone in power, and especially someone of such evil in power.
Right.
I think it was. I still stand behind that. What else? When he heard that the studios were trying to discourage Chaplin from making the film, President Franklin Roosevelt sent a representative to Charles Chaplin to encourage him to finish it.
Nice.
And lastly, to tee you up for viewing the speech, Charles Chaplin blinks fewer than 10 times in the entire final speech, which lasts over 5 minutes.
Whoa.
He's in the
How
zone.
does that happen?
He's in the zone.
And it's all one
He's
take?
in the zone. I believe so, yes.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to watch this movie now.
It's very passionate.
Okay.
It's
Wonder
nice.
if Jake Gyllenhaal could do that.
Best thing ever. Probably.
That's right. He doesn't blink.
I don't
in
think he
Nightcrawler.
blinked at all in
Does
Nightcrawler.
not
Yeah,
blink.
that's
It's
Oh,
like, I
that
read
movie.
it was only 4 times. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know. But I read
he should
it was
have
only
so
been
4
good.
nominated for an Oscar
Yeah,
for
I
that
couldn't
movie.
believe he wasn't.
I was
nominated.
so mad about that. Also, Renee Russo should have been nominated too because she was incredible.
She was alright.
How dare you? What is your second film?
Oh, we just go right into mine again?
Yeah, why
Yeah.
not?
Okay.
Let's do it.
Another
And then we'll do ours.
Best Original Screenplay nominee that lost, that should have won, was 1985's The Purple Rose of Cairo.
Also have not seen.
Wonderful, so exciting.
I haven't seen it.
It's one of Woody Allen's best movies.
Okay.
It stars Mia Farrow, Jeff Daniels, and Danny Aiello, I believe is how you say his name. But the synopsis is: unhappily married Depression-era waitress Cecilia, Mia Farrow, earns the money while her inattentive husband Monk blows their meager income on alcohol and gambling. To assuage her loneliness, Cecilia escapes to the picture show and becomes transfixed with the movie The Purple Rose of Cairo, and especially with its lead character, archaeologist Tom Baxter, played by Jeff Daniels. When Tom literally steps off of the screen and into her life, both realities are thrown into chaos.
Is that like she sees him, or is he really stepping off the screen? Like,
yeah, well, that's
actual
actually,
stepping
not
off
to
the
give too much
screen?
away, but that's my favorite scene is... I mean, the movie itself is amazing because it's all an incarnate version of what I'm sure at least the three of us, if not what most people do, especially if you're into film, which it's all about escapism. And she's in an abusive, unloving marriage. It's the depression. They're dirt poor. She has nothing. And so what she does is she literally goes to the movies every single day. And back then it was, they have one screen and they just played The Purple Rose of Cairo every day. She goes and sees this movie every day, and then like the fifth or sixth time she's in the audience, and it's, she knows the scene. It's the same movie. She knows how it goes, blah, blah, blah. And in the middle of a scene, Jeff Daniels is on screen in black and white, and he's delivering this speech, and he kind of glances over for a second and like looks and then goes back to it, and she's like, oh, what's going on? And then he looks again, and then he just turns like right towards the movie theater audience, and he's like, you must really like this picture, don't you? And she's like, what? Like, what do you like me? And he's like, yeah, you. Like in the fifth row. Like he's like, this is like the sixth time you've been here. He's like, you've been here like the last 3 days and like twice before that or something. And they start interacting, and then he's like, he starts talking, and then he steps out of the screen, and he's like in color like a real person, and the other people in the audience are freaking out, and the people in the film are freaking out. They're like, Tom,
where'd he
what are you
go?
doing? Like, get back in here. Like, you can't, like, he crossed over, blah, blah, blah. And so they run off together, and then it gets really interesting because he is the character from the movie, and they're very much falling for each other. The actor who played him, also Jeff Daniels, is in Los Angeles, finds out that his character from a movie is like has left the movie and is ruining like their box office and stuff. So he comes, and then there's a love triangle between her and like the real version of Jeff Daniels and the fictional version of Jeff Daniels.
This is blowing my mind.
I know, this is great.
It's
I
so
like
amazing.
it.
And not to, I don't know, should I like tell you the ending? Like,
No, because
No,
I'm
don't do that.
gonna see it.
It's great. And so then that's the story in essence. Like I said, it's one of Woody Allen's best, also in his opinion. In his own ranking, I believe he said it was his second best, second favorite of his own films, and it was the single one that the product reflected most accurately its conception. I definitely recommend seeing it. Like I said, it lost Best Original Screenplay to Witness.
Oh, Witness.
Harrison Ford?
Fucking Harrison
Yes.
Ford movie, yeah. Which
I did
definitely
like
should have beat that.
Witness.
I do
But-
love me some Harrison Ford.
Even though it lost Best Original Screenplay, the film was highly praised. It won the Golden Globe for Best Screenplay. It won the BAFTA for Best Screenplay. It won the BAFTA for Best Film, like of the year, and it won the César Award for Best Foreign Film, which is like the French Oscars. The budget was $15 million. It went on to make a little over $10 million, but that was normal for that era of Woody Allen films, which was all like they were all like amazing films. Didn't do big box office wise, but he was nominated for Oscars like every single year.
Now, do you know what Woody Allen puts as his first favorite of his own?
Yeah, I did. I didn't make a note of it. I read it
Okay.
last night though. I want to say. I don't want to say because I don't know.
Okay. I'll look it up myself.
Yeah, I need to look
I
it
was
up.
like, Annie
That was-
Hall or
No,
okay.
definitely not. That's my favorite film.
I enjoy it,
That's
but I've enjoyed some of his other
but-
stuff too.
Oh, no,
so
it's so great. Let's see. After the film was previewed, this will kind of because I didn't tell you the ending. After the film was previewed, word got back to Woody Allen that if he just changed the ending, he could have a big hit. Allen declined, saying that the ending is one of the only reasons he made the film.
oh,
Woody Allen has said on numerous occasions this is one of his favorites, blah, blah, blah. I just told you that. Jeff Daniels replaced Michael Keaton in the lead role, Keaton was originally cast and shot footage for 10 days, but then Woody Allen decided that it wasn't working because Keaton, who was an amazing actor, was miscast because he was too contemporary for the part and didn't fit with the period piece.
That was on screen.
Yeah, which makes sense because Jeff Daniels is, especially younger Jeff Daniels, is very like, he just has like an old school like rich American vibe to him. What else? Oh, about 8 years after this movie debuted, the film's premise was used for the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Last Action Hero, where a screen idol comes out of the movie into real life.
Nice.
The entire lead cast of the film, Mia Farrow, Jeff Daniels, and Danny Aiello, came back 2 years later in Woody Allen's film Radio Days, which was also nominated for and lost Best Original Screenplay. But Woody Allen won Best Original Screenplay in the year between for Hannah and Her Sisters, which is another one of my favorites. It's really good. So he's basically he's been nominated for like almost
he
every
makes a movie like every year.
Yeah,
He's insane.
That was the next thing. Even though this was the 14th feature film that Woody Allen wrote and directed, he's currently up to 48, by the way.
Wow.
This was only the second that he didn't also star in himself. The first
finally
being Interiors, I think. I don't know. This film was the fourth of 13 collaborations between he and Mia Farrow. And lastly, in the words of Woody Allen, the meaning of this film is life is ultimately disappointing.
Well, now
Now
I
we
don't
know
know
the
if I want to see
No,
it.
I have no idea.
I like
man.
that. Okay, so this film to me, because I loved Midnight in Paris.
Right,
Yes.
that's what I was
It's
thinking.
very much
It
a
also,
precursor to
yeah,
that.
you also, like, the rules of the universe aren't really explained or revealed. Like, you don't know why it's happening or how
Right.
it's happening. So is that the same thing where, like, no one really
It
talks
just
about
happens.
how can someone step out of the screen and how are two actors existing? So,
Yeah.
okay, well, then
that
I like
was-
that.
It was really good, and that's, I mean, I speak as what I would consider a Woody Allen authority because I am very obsessed. I own all of his movies on Blu-ray. Any of the ones that are on Twilight Time collection, I have those, which mean those are releases that they only produce 3,000 copies of, and that's the only run
Wow.
they do. And so I got all those because I'm an obsessive. But that's what I like about the era that this was in, like 70s, 80s, Woody Allen, and then also what we've seen in like the last 5 or 10 years of his films is a very surreal, like magic realism element. And that was the thing that he did a lot back when this came out in that era. And then, like you said, also with more recent ones like Midnight in Paris, To Rome with Love does that a good bit. Blue Jasmine has like an element of that. And I think that's one of the areas he does best in because he's tried he's tried his hand at a lot of different avenues as far as like themes and subgenre and stuff like that. But this seems to be one that he's most adept at.
That's my favorite genre for him, is like that magical element to it where it's, you just don't, like, you don't really need to even talk about
And also
the
that
rules of
it's
the
like
universe.
depressing. I like that because it's real.
There you go. What a depressed person you are.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, I'm
so
dark.
next, so we did Die Hard, then we did Heroes Against the Odd Movies, and we talked about
Kill Bill.
Kill Bill, and now from that we're doing female badass films.
Yeah.
And you picked one and I picked one, so you go first.
Oh, I will go first. 1979. Well, this movie was described as, when it was pitched, Jaws in space. And that movie
Space
is
Jaws.
Alien.
Oh, I thought it was Space Jaws.
Space Jaws. Space Jam, Space Jaws.
Everybody get up, it's time to slam now.
Oh man.
Just gonna sing so much.
Ripley is one of my favorite female characters. This is actually my favorite film. I
Favorite
don't.
film
Interesting.
ever?
Do you find
Ever,
it self-indulgent
yes.
that Ridley named his lead character Ripley?
Sure.
I'd never noticed that before until you just said it.
It
I
is
was like,
pretty
oh, that's
close.
really weird. It'd be like if I made a movie and it's like, this is the movie of Janie. she's basically amazing in every way. She's the hero of the film. They're like, really? It seems thinly veiled.
She does great Rocky impressions.
Yeah.
I don't think that he was gonna cast a woman. I think it was gonna be a man.
It was gender neutral.
Yeah.
So
Sicario.
This is about the commercial vessel Nostromo receiving a distress call from an unexplored planet. After searching for survivors, the crew heads home only to realize that a deadly bioform has joined them. Dun dun dun. Now, all of this could have been avoided if people would have just listened to Ripley when she was like, listen, there's a quarantine, you can't come in. Like, he cannot come in this vessel. Like, we could all die if he does that. And then some other guy just goes over and hits the button and lets him in. And it's like, how dare you? But then we wouldn't have had a film, so there it is.
Or a franchise.
Yeah, you know. Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, Tom Skerritt as Dallas. I like Tom Skerritt, and I was like, I really like him. I haven't seen him in much, and then I was like, oh man, he's been in like over 170 films or whatever. I was like, so it's just not of my time.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you were. I'm sorry, I just remembered this. But when we were just talking about the roles. He originally wrote it so that all of the roles were gender neutral.
Oh, nice.
That's why they all have names like Ripley, Dallas, like things that are very clearly not conventionally male or female. And that was, I guess, the impetus for that was so that they would just cast whichever person felt right for each role.
Right. That's awesome because you don't get that all the time.
Yeah.
It would be nice if more movies were like that.
Well, it's also from like a writing standpoint, though, it's kind of an odd thing to do because usually if you're writing a story, you kind of see the story and the characters. Mm-hmm. So it's a very fluid way to write a story. It seems like it'd kind of be hard for like people's motivations and personalities and stuff if you had to write a story, but you can't really say anything specific about any of them.
Right. I saw this for the first time when I had a film class. It was at 7:30 in the morning, and
Offensive.
I was like, it was a horror, sci-fi, gangster film class, and there was like,
just a film.
Yeah, there was like,
they're like, we cover all the genres.
There were 10 of us maybe in the theater that they screened it at, and like as soon as he's in like the air shaft or whatever, and you see whatever that is. I'm like, then the air. I don't know where he is. He's in some tunnels, air ducts, something. And you see the xenomorph, and I was just like, I jumped from my seat into like the row in front of me because no one was there, and I was like, oh my! I've never had that kind of reaction to something so frightening.
It's crazy.
Even though I expected it to somewhere come up.
It's crazy to hear. I mean, it is kind of a perspective thing, and not that I'm like a child, but like to hear the things that people older than you found like terrifying at the time, or like even because the big one is like Jaws. Like people are like, like parents are
the
like,
reveal.
Yeah, like, we saw Jaws in the theater. I almost shit my pants. And I'm like, Grandma, chill. But I'm like. But it's weird because then even like when I saw Jaws, I was just like, oh, it's like a shark. Right.
Oh yeah, there's scary music. Huh?
Yeah, but it never. It's so weird that you're. I think it's especially with any kind of like scared feeling, like thriller or terror or anything. It's all very much of the time because even like there's some things that horrified me as a kid, and then I rewatch them now, and I'm just like, this is fucking cheesy. Like, how did this actually scare me? Like, you can see the wires.
I watched it this past Monday, and like because I knew it was coming, it wasn't as scary. But then when I like really looked at what it looks like, I'm like, it's kind of a funky looking. I mean, I know someone's in there. It's a costume, and like it's kind of silly. But now I can say that it's silly, whereas before I was like, oh goodness, like what am I doing? What's happening?
What's going on?
I'm like, when is that coming out again? Because I don't.
What's it? It's coming out of Chuck.
Oh my gosh, what if Stallone were in this film?
Oh, geez.
What if he was Dallas?
I am Dallas. Nice to meet you. I'm an
my
astronaut,
gosh.
a scientist.
I'm a really smart guy.
Wait, on How Did This Get Made? They always do. Would it be better if Nicolas Cage were in this film?
Yes.
I think we should do. Would it be better if Stallone were in this film?
The answer to both of those questions is always yes. I almost, when I was choosing my link, obviously I eventually landed on best original screenplays that were nominated but should have won. But my original was I was going to do other films that took place in Philadelphia so that I could do 1776, the musical, and National Treasure.
National Treasure is a national treasure.
Yeah.
It is.
It's great.
So the chest busting scene, one take, 4 cameras. That's it.
They didn't know it was coming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
like
be
the
like,
actors
holy.
and
I love when they
didn't know
do
were
that,
coming.
when they get initial reaction. Because they did that on
It's like guerrilla.
Batman, lawnmower scene.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of other, anything with like a big shock to it.
Right, we're
a lot
not
of
going to
times
let you
they just
know.
Don't tell the actors. It's like, fuck these people. Let's scare them.
Well, I know
you
that
get, like,
also
genuine
Ridley Scott wasn't getting like a reaction that he wanted out of Sigourney Weaver when Lambert comes in and slaps her.
Yeah.
Like, and it was a fake slap, obviously. And so he told Veronica Cartwright, he said, I want you to actually slap her this time. Just do it. And then... So she did it, and then he's like, I finally got the reaction I wanted. There's the
Hitchcock
take.
method. Like, I'm just going to abuse the shit out of the actors until
Throw
they
birds
break.
at you for 3 days.
And Harrison
Throw some
Ford.
birds at her.
Harrison Ford turned down the role of Captain Dallas.
And we were all
so that's
better
too
for it.
bad. I do love Tom Skerritt. I'm glad
I just
glad
don't.
it's him.
Harrison Ford is like the same in every movie. I mean, I like him in some things, but it's like past like 1980, everything is just like
one jumbled mess.
Well, yes, I was like, I'm Dallas. I'm an astronaut on this thing.
So you're cool with conversation.
Yeah, I'm good with Harrison Ford. Like, it's just like his excitement level hasn't jumped above like 10% in the last 30 years. Like, it's anything he does is just like, it's like, even in the new Star Wars trailers, like,
we're home.
He's like,
Chewie,
he's
we're
like,
home.
No, he's like, Chewie, we're home. Like, it's always like.
Did you see when the Oscars 2 years ago? It was like, it's an exhilarating thrill ride. These movies, like it was so bad.
It's so thrilling. It's hard to put into words.
Hold on to your seatbelts or whatever he says, and he like literally looks like he's about to
Yeah.
slit his own wrist. He's so annoyed about being there and being like alive.
If you look, I have one earring. It's very,
Just one ear.
Why?
very cool.
Why does he have one
I'm
earring?
accomplished.
Why did Callista Flockhart let him do that?
Very accomplished pilot. I fly planes.
So-
on golf courses.
For the sake of time, we're gonna end Alien there.
I'm sorry. This is what I always do. I recorded a podcast the other day that usually runs about an hour, and we recorded like 2.5 hours, and they were like, "We're gonna have to cut a lot of that." It's like, I'm sorry. It's
So-
mostly impression.
Stacey's gonna take over
Okay.
our next film, which is Badass Females.
That's right. So badass females. Mine. I chose The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and I chose the remake. Now I've
Good
seen
call.
the original and the whole original trilogy,
Right.
which is on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, Numi Rapace does an amazing job. She's fantastic. But I just chose the remake because more people have seen it. It's in English. It's a little more commercially successful, and it got nominated for
Right.
Littles
also
of Oscars.
better.
It's also better.
Not on Netflix though.
It's not on Netflix,
So that's
though. Just pirate
unfortunate.
I pirate movies all the
And
time.
Numi was like, I'm not doing this character anymore.
Yeah, because people campaigned for her to do it.
Right.
And she was like, guys, I already did it. I did 3 movies.
I'm done.
No.
Like, I could understand
then
that,
she
being
wanted to
like,
do
I need to get out of
Prometheus.
this head.
Yeah, I think that was another example, though, of, excuse me, like when we were talking about people being resistant to casting. Like, obviously, people were like, oh, we want, like, her to redo it and blah, blah, blah. But then I forget the woman's name that did it in the American version, but, like, she was fantastic. Like, that was...
Rooney
she-
Mara.
Rooney
yeah,
Mara.
exactly. She, like, killed that role. Like, I think that was just another example of, like, you gotta wait till you see things. Don't just be resistant to them off the bat. Especially when casting's announced. That's
Yeah,
always
the
a weird
Swedes were
reaction.
very nervous. But then I heard
Yeah,
that...
they're nervous people.
Well, they are. They're nervous, calm people. But I heard that
Very good place.
so she was shooting in, I guess, Stockholm one day, and there was the scene where she's calls the guy to like set up a meeting or whatever, and she's walking down the stairs, and that was just her little scene, like the first thing she ever did. But everyone was like waiting around the corner and watching her, just like, you know, people on the street.
Right.
And then after she ended,
We have one popular story. Please don't mess it up. They're all just nervous. They're like, what if they ruin the only franchise we've ever had?
It's the one book series. Come on, this is our Harry Potter. Don't fuck it up.
Name another Swedish author. You can't.
Nobody. And so they ended, and they were all talking amongst themselves, like whispering, and then the director, I guess, however Swedish people sound.
They all sound like Swedish.
Boop, boop, boop. And one of the camera people walked over and was like, what are you guys talking about? And they were like, we like her a lot. I don't know why I just did that.
We like her a lot. And then the camera person was like, why aren't any of you at work at 2 o'clock on a Wednesday? And they're like, oh, we're socialists. We don't work.
Yeah,
like,
we don't work.
We have 298 vacation days a year.
We're going to get coffee and ham and tomato and cheese sandwiches.
Yeah, some sort of raw fish that's really disgusting that we pretend to like.
Swedish fish.
Swedish fish.
They're just eating Swedish fish the whole time. But anyway, yeah, so they were nervous about it, but they ended up really liking her in the role. So the synopsis, if you don't know about it or ever haven't read the books, journalist Mikael Blomkvist is aided in his search for a woman who has been missing for 40 years by Lisbeth Salander, a young computer hacker. So Daniel Craig plays the journalist, and Rooney Mara plays Lisbeth Salander. Stellan Skarsgård is in it. Robin Wright is in it. And Goran Vizdjic, whatever. He's from ER and Practical Magic, one of my favorite movies ever.
We gotta do that one.
We're gonna talk about Practical Magic. That's a whole podcast right there, because I want to remake that movie, and I am Nicole Kidman's character, and you can be Sandra Bullock's character. And
I'll do acting.
You want to be in it, Jamie?
Yeah.
Okay.
You think we could get Stallone?
You can be the sheriff.
Was Tony big enough for the both of us? That's another game you can play, though, that I think will always have a positive answer is, would this movie have been better with Daniel Craig? Because I love him in everything, including this. I thought he was really, really badass.
He was great. And because he had just played Bond, he wanted to gain weight to make himself seem like more of a writer.
He's my favorite Bond.
And he's incredible. I love him. Blonde Bond.
Confession, I haven't seen him in any of the Bond films.
Oh, you gotta watch Skyfall.
So good. Skyfall.
Casino Royale. And then Skyfall. Forget about Quantum of Solace or whatever.
It was good. It was better than any other Bond film, but it was like of the three he's done, it was the weaker. But Skyfall is like the best Bond film. It's
Raul
insane.
Silva, incredible Bond villain, one for the ages. Okay, so for this, he wanted to gain weight and seem like more of a writer, but there were little moments you can see his Bondness.
He's fucking built. Like it's
so built.
It's one of those things where
he
he's
is like
to
shoulders.
him, he's probably like, yes,
I don't have
got
7-pack abs.
Got a little chubby for this movie, and they're like, your abs still have abs.
Yeah.
Like you still have the little like crazy hip bone thing happening. Like you're not a chubby writer.
Yeah, you still got like
crazy
the V,
hip bone.
Yeah.
the V things going on. So those little moments, like whenever he's in the kitchen and the water bottle falls and he catches it real fast, that was just like him catching the water bottle.
He's just
And
actually an action hero.
Yeah, he's actually an action hero. He was like, save the water, and David Fincher was like, leave it in. It looks so
I forgot
Bond.
that Fincher did this. He's so fucking
He's
good.
so great. He's my favorite modern director. Fincher
Has to
is.
be.
He's incredible,
So good.
and I really want them to do the sequel to this movie.
Right.
I
I
was
thought
gonna
they were
ask,
going
are
to.
there any
Kept the
plans
nipple
for that,
piercing.
or
Yeah. I
Well,
thought
that's just
they were
because
going.
It's a cool thing to do.
This is true.
No, but she wanted to get all the piercings, and that was one of them.
No,
so,
she got all
right?
the piercings.
Okay.
And
I
then
thought
the
we
guy.
all did. We all did.
You guys don't have nipple piercings too?
Why
Wait,
Damn it.
some people dress up to go to the movies. I showed up with all the piercings.
There you
I was
go.
like, I'm the boy with the dragon tattoo. I wanted to be in the
Wait,
moment.
what part would Stallone be Stellan Skarsgård?
Skateboard.
That
He
was
would
from-
Yeah.
He'd be Stellan Skarsgård.
Definitely.
And okay, so I'm not gonna go into like the plot of the movie or anything like that, because if you haven't seen it, it's actually a really great story,
is.
and the novel is wonderful as well. And I think because the guy that wrote it died before he could write the fourth book, and I think they just released it.
Yeah, I think
Like
his
a week
understudy
ago or
or
something?
whoever it was.
It's like his
Ghost
family.
Rider.
Yeah, someone that
estate.
was involved in his writing process up until then finished it up.
It's like
and-
AI. Yeah.
That's
don't
right.
get into.
I know we don't
I
need to
hopefully he
discuss
didn't
that film.
fuck it up irreparably.
First of
You
all,
never know.
Kubrick wrote the ending to AI, so let's not get into why AI.
It
was
was
terrible.
no.
Kubrick
It was supposed
wrote
to
it.
be a completely different
No,
film.
Kubrick wrote it as
And
an imitation
Spielberg
of Spielberg,
did.
his friend, and Spielberg
No.
wanted to fit it. Yes,
We've
yes.
gone on a
No,
tangent.
it's okay.
That's not
Well,
acceptable.
we'll talk about this afterwards.
He was sorry you can't make every movie E.T. Steven Spielberg. Just try to appeal to a mass audience and get the kids in there. It's fucking Kubrick. Eyes wide shut.
Okay, we cannot get into
Yeah.
a Kubrick discussion.
We gotta
because
finish
we
up
don't have
Girl with
enough
the
time.
Dragon Tattoo.
All right, so let's.
I got
I
the-
mean, if you haven't seen it, see it.
Alert the
I love
affiliates.
it.
Tell them we're going late tonight.
My favorite scene is the revenge rape scene.
That's my least. Wait.
Wow. No,
Wow.
I,
I mean-
love it.
Okay.
No, I know. It's.
Okay.
I know that's such
Jeez.
a hard scene to watch, but they did it so well, and I just love.
Interesting glimpse into the mind
She
of
is
Stacey.
not a morally sound person,
Right.
Really, in accordance to society's rules. She has her own set of rules and what's right and wrong, and she's very steadfast in that. So I like her version of revenge, and that it's what she wanted to do,
Oh,
and
definitely,
she
yeah.
absolutely executes her plan perfectly. And I just like how they shot it. I like the score. I like the tone of the scene. I know it's really difficult to watch, and but I don't know. I'm a difficult person, and I like
Right.
difficult scenes.
I like watching when she starts to put things together at the end. Like there's a whole scene, like revealing scene, and
Yeah.
you're like,
Oh, yeah.
oh,
All the-
I don't want to
all
give
the
it away.
exposition scene, all
Yeah.
the information,
Yep.
and I like how she fills in all the information. Like they
Yep.
have different ways of
We're putting it all
investigating
together.
things. I like that too, and the reveal of what actually happened.
Yes.
I
That
liked
movie was so long, but it was still like it doesn't feel long.
Yeah.
because it's
Right.
so like every scene is so fucking good, and it was one of those that like when I watched it, it's one of those movies that ends like 3 times, and it literally I saw it with my dad in theaters originally, and right before the last one, it even dips to black. And we started to like get up, and then it kept going. We were like, "Oh shit! What
Yeah,
the fuck?
whoa.
Like, this movie's still on, but it's
Return of the King. It's got 7
yeah,
endings. Yeah.
but it's still amazing. Like it's one of the few that's like it's super long and it ends several different times, but you're still like, "Oh, it was a phenomenal film.
I love it. I love it so much.
It's so good."
I also love the opening credits.
Yes.
Ooh, yes.
It's
That
totally a
is-
music video.
It is, and they have the
It's
cover.
kind of a Fincher thing, right?
Yeah.
He does
Yeah.
really good openings.
He does. He
Gone
does.
Girl
And
has
then it's
so
got
many samples.
the cover of the song
Mm-hmm.
because Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails
Yeah.
did the score of the movie, and
He
they
did Gone Girl too. They
he
work
did-
very well
yeah,
together.
and he did Social Network too.
And House of Cards first season.
Oh, see, so they love
Fucking
working
Fincher,
together.
man.
Jesus, he's so
Just
incredible.
rattling off like the best things made in the last decade.
Boom, absolutely. So that was I loved that original opening
Nice.
scene. I thought it was super, really weird and cool and creepy, and I liked it.
Did you?
I
I
enjoyed
don't
it
think
too.
you finished. Are there any like talks of doing the sequel or?
I don't
anything
know.
like
Okay,
that?
because she
Oh right.
because she got all the piercings. Fun fact: so she went to go get all these piercings, and then the guy who did her tattoos or not tattoos, did all her piercings. They decided to cast him as the tattoo guy in the movie.
Oh,
so the guy with the
good.
gauges and the ankle, and he's like, "This is really gonna hurt." She's like, "Whatever." That is her tattoo guy, which she just thought he was more realistic because he really is a tattoo guy. But yeah, she kept like the nipple piercing and a couple of others in case they do sequels. So I
Yeah.
really want them to do that. Like
Right.
these books are so good, and I want them to continue the story, and I want to see where it goes.
It seems like it's maybe been too long now.
Maybe,
But I don't
yeah.
know. Like,
It's,
it seems like
No.
it's been like 4 years.
yeah, but I mean, like to do like in a series like that, it seems like they might have.
You
missed
have
the
to do it
window.
all at the same time.
Yeah, it
or
needs
at
to be
least
like 1 year after the other.
you have to like as soon as that one came out, they should have like at least went to like pre-production.
Yeah, they should have just continued it. So, yeah, I don't know, but let me see.
So
if I
let's
have
actually go through because we are getting
Connect
to
the
the end
dots.
of our time here. I have to pick
yes.
up my son.
Oh,
so
yes, sorry
full
about that.
disclosure for everyone. So we started off with Die Hard, and from there we linked it to Man or Woman Against All Odds. We did Rocky as well as Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2. From there, Jamie linked his to
Best original screenplay nominees that lost but should have won. And mine that branched off of Rocky from that were 1940's The Great Dictator and 1985's The Purple Rose of Cairo.
And from Kill
Both
Bill.
of which you should watch. Right?
Yes, exactly. But
Wow.
and then we from Kill Bill did Badass Women, and I chose Alien.
And I chose Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
And we also like to, before our show, tweet out movie link tweets. So we put one of our links up and say, what's your favorite man or woman against all odd films? And I got a few in. Actually, we might have that. Stacey, if you want to, you're welcome to read it this time.
Me reading
Or maybe
Twitter
not.
handles are
I can
bad.
do it.
Okay.
They're like, I love anytime you read like Twitter handles as if it's like a serious thing. Like when they're like, at Ghost Boobs wrote, like, shout out Ghost Boobs if that's someone listening.
At K Srikar 407, Lord of the Rings.
Creative.
At Travis of Marvel, Mr.
And
Mr. Brown, NF, Die Hard. At First Time Watchers, Gravity. At Killchair, The Bourne Movies. At Brian Williams, The Fugitive. At Mickey Campanelli, Rocky, Karate Kid, Superman versus the Elite, The Book of Eli. Mr. Zachary, Falling Down. And Rob Davidson Says, Castaway.
Interesting. Since you mentioned it, interestingly enough, the director of Rocky was also the director of the Karate Kid movies.
I did not know that.
Yeah, because he's one of those like unknown directors who directed like an insane amount of like blockbuster movies.
Yeah, but like no one knows who he is.
Yeah.
He's not
And he
like,
won the Oscar. Like he has an Oscar too.
Yeah.
But people are just like.
But you know what he
John
also did?
Avildsen?
You know what he did?
What is this?
He did Rocky 5, which is the worst.
Well, I mean, he did the first. He kind of had to stick around for the rest of them.
Well, he didn't do the others. He just did.
I thought he did
No, he
2.
just did the first one and then 5.
Oh, that's random.
Yeah.
Luckily, Sly wrote all of them.
Oh, it's the lies still
He can't put the pin down.
So then the last thing we have is we need to link them all up to Kevin Bacon. So, we link our top one, which is Die Hard. That's our feature film. So Kevin Bacon was in The Woodsman with Mos Def. Mos Def was in 16 Blocks with Bruce Willis. And Bruce Willis was in Die Hard. So there you go. There you have it.
Whoa.
Easy peasy.
Lemon squeezy.
And that is the end of our podcast. Thank you, Jamie, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
What is your Twitter
Lots
handle?
of fun.
Yes. How can we find you?
You can find me at on Twitter, Instagram, all those good social medias at J Woodham. It's just JWOODHAM, as in, man, I'm glad I followed that guy.
That's right, along with 50,000 other people.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Have you always wanted to be one of many? Have you always felt like a sheep waiting for a shepherd to herd you towards a cliff? Then follow me on Twitter and Instagram.
Amazing. Stacey, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at SOHoward2012. And Instagram, I think, is at Stacey O. Howard. So,
You got to do some searching.
yeah. No, those are the
She don't want to
names.
make it easy for you.
Those are the Twitter handles, I think. So
Okay.
just follow me there, I guess.
Sounds
Whatever.
good. Sounds
I don't
good.
care. Follow me on Periscope. I don't know.
You can follow me on Twitter at Miss Movies. You could also follow me on Instagram, Miss_movies there.
Ooh.
So
Whoa.
we gotta,
Someone beat you to the
someone
punch.
beat me. How dare they? All right. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 6 Degrees of Feature Film is produced by Stacey Howard and me. Special thank you to Ken Napzok for our intro and Matt Brown for our artwork.